We all are ready. Hey, I'm Emerson.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
Hey, I'm Laren.
Hi, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Devin, and we want to let you know why hip hop matters. Hip hop is dynamic, explosive, influential, and colorful. It has been the most streamed genre of music for the last decade and continues to grow annually. Artists have a global voice, and many of them have put it to good use. We are here to explain why hip hop matters. Our audience will be informed of the important social and political commentary made in hip hop and its impact on society throughout the different eras of the genre. Hip hop artists have played a major role in shaping ideologies of generations. But how has hip hop contributed to and impacted specific events in modern history?
Starting with the origin and the foundation. The layering of the origins and foundation regarding hip-hop culture began many centuries ago in African traditions and beliefs. Rap, which plays a large role in hip-hop culture, is believed to have originated through the West African oral tradition surrounding Malayan Dogon cosmology. In the cosmology, higher deities' power stems from spoken word. In the United States, hip-hop culture and music began as a result of the shifting demographic in the Bronx during the 1970s. The white flight movement, when white people started moving to more suburban areas from the cities, really spearheaded the creation of hip-hop since it resulted in the urban decay. During this time of economic struggle, the people came together to create new forms of art. This new art form would include rapping, breakdancing, DJing, and street art. Later, Africa Bambaataa would be credited for coining the term hip-hop. His art featured a mix of both poetry and music. DJ Kool Herc, who is credited for starting rap music, which is based on South African origins, became known for adding breaks to the beats and sounds with his new turntable techniques. While his new dance style also caught on quickly, dancers like Earl Snakehips Tucker had been popular for many years. Earl Tucker was a performer at the Cotton Club in Harlem, who became popularized by his move Snakehips in 1930s. Here's a video for the reference. Although Snakehips is not as popular as it was then, it still gave way for a new movement to come. According to Becky Blanchard, the author of The Social Significance of Rap and Hip Hop Culture, the popularity of the extended break lent its name to the title breakdancing, a style specific to hip hop culture, which was facilitated by extended drum breaks played by DJs at New York dance parties. Soon, the art form would begin bringing many more people together than those facing hardships in the Bronx, starting with the old school era.
So the old school era of hip hop introduced new discoveries in music that created the unique sound that we recognize today in rap and hip hop. And additionally, it was the beginning of bringing hip hop into mainstream consumption. So new music technologies such as mixing, breaking, and scratching were discovered by artists during the old school era. And they played a major role in creating a unique sound for later artists. So Grandmaster Flash proved to be a fundamental pioneer as he discovered both mixing and break beats. So thinking about those breaks that Laren talked about, he was able to isolate and extend them and then mix those with other songs. Additionally, DJ Grand Wizard discovered scratching, which is probably the sound that all of us think about too when you hear hip hop and rap, when the needle drops on a record and they either pull it back and create like a beat or they just make the noise. So both of those were huge in creating something for other artists to build on and to continue to make hip hop something unique and new. So Rap launched in mainstream popularity with the 1979 release of Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight, which continued to redefine the genre. Produced by Sylvia Robinson, Rapper's Delight changed the way that rap was understood and consumed by the whole nation. Harry Allen of the Village Voice and Vibe magazine explains that until then, rap had been for young Black males with few opportunities. Rapper's Delight gave them a way of making their voices heard. So what hip-hop fashion was a conduit whereby people who normally are locked out of telling get to tell. However, there was some reflection of the time. There was a lot of tension among the hip-hop group, like artists, because they didn't recognize the song as a true reflection of what hip-hop was, with all of the urban anger amongst other artists. And additionally, two of the group members from New Jersey and were not MCs or DJs. Regardless of that tension with other artists, it was the first breakthrough major popular hip hop song in history. And then later that year, Curtis Blow became the first ever rapper to sign with a major record label, Mercury Records. And he continued to popularize hip hop music with Christmas Rappin', his first release. He was represented by Russell Simmons, who we now know as the one-man hip-hop whirlwind. While the nation was being rocked by the new genre after the release of Rapper's Delight, he continued to build on this. His friend Robert Rocky Ford explains that no major Black producers or higher-ups in the industry wanted to sort of touch hip-hop because they associated it with the ghetto and they didn't want to like mainstream that. So in the end, Curtis Blow was actually signed by a white British man to Mercury Records, and then later that year successfully released Christmas Rappin'. But when we think about that, it's a huge point to remember in the evolution of hip hop. Today we think about Dr. Dre and Jay-Z as the most successful hip hop producers and rap producers. However, just in 1979, it took a white man from England to be a producer then. So it's a key to think about how far this genre has evolved. Now Brandon will cover the continued rise of popularity of hip hop through the early golden era.
All right. The golden age is noted for a time period when it seemed that every new single reinvented the genre, according to Rolling Stone. Hip-hop's golden age is a name given to a period in mainstream hip-hop usually cited as being from roughly 1986 to 1997. It is said to be characterized by its diversity, quality, innovation, and influence. There were strong themes of Afrocentricity and political militancy during this era. There were various types of subject matter, and the music was experimental, and the sampling from old records was eclectic. The golden age of hip-hop is characterized by its skeletal beats, samples created from hard rock, P-funk, contemporary jazz, R&B, and soul tracks. During this time period, the abundance of using sampling music arose. And samples were derived from a number of genres ranging from jazz to rock and roll. Rhymers like P.E.'s Chuck D, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Rakim, and LL Cool J invented much of the complex wordplay and lyrical abilities of later hip-hop during this time period. During this time period, there was a great elevation of rapping techniques and rappers using their lyrical ability and capabilities. Stylistic variety was also prominent as rappers had an individual sound that was dictated by their region and their communities. It has also been noted that albums from the Golden Age also tended to have themes and a consistent sound. During this era, it was a big theme in their music of Black nationalism and Black nationalists in their rhymes. Next, Brenda will cover the transition from mainstream rap to gangster rap.
Okay. In the mid 1800s, we see an emergence of a new form of hip hop / rap music, which has historically been classified as gangster rap, with notable acts being members of N.W.A. such as Ice Cube, Eazy-E, MC Ren, and other crews such as Wu-Tang Clan, Ice-T, Bone Thugs and Harmony. And this style of rap was particularly story-driven, so more than its predecessors in the golden radio era. This new ballad painted vivid images of life that these rappers live and expose to us issues that they face every day within their neighborhood. This is demonstrated in numerous songs such as Boys in the Hood by Eazy-E and skits performed by the legendary rap group Wu-Tang Clan. The gangster rap era was when music artists began speaking of gang violence in the community, as well as the effects drugs were having on these impoverished areas. Some artists spoke of the destruction it was bringing into the neighborhood, while others made drug dealing into a coveted position, along with it being a new and lavish lifestyle. This era of rap music gave the community something that they could relate to and genuinely form those strong connections with. This in turn allowed gangster rap to become extremely popular. And while some people were interested in just making music for the streets, some decided to use the voice they gained to speak out against political movements. This was a new direction in the world of hip hop, as now the music industry had a large amount of influence over society. In the late 1980s and early 90s, the American society struggled with very delicate matters such as equality and police brutality, where many of these songs in this era reference the treatment of the African American community by police as demonstrated in songs such as F the Police by N.W.A. This new style of music was still gaining popularity during the incident with unarmed black motorist Rodney King in the Los Angeles Police Department. This incident was a match that ignited the American public into a panic. The African American community was in an uproar over the incident, and many musicians turned to their music as a way to voice their opinion in the best way that they knew how. Soon, race riots ensued, and songs like F the Police were essentially anthems for the minority communities. While some artists were quick to grab the microphone and lead in the efforts of race riots, we could also see how these troubling times were affecting us in other areas, even other artists. Ice Cube, It Was a Good Day, is an excellent example as he mentions the things he finds beautiful in life and what makes for a beautiful day in Los Angeles, and how none of them were ruined by the violence, drugs, or police. This track was essentially an attempt at reaching peace and returning to a state of normalcy. After this, we see more of a transition from rap music telling the hard stories of the impoverished lifestyle of minority men to more of music mentioning the success of rap and the money that the artists were making, which is where we began to transition into the platinum.
Following the age of powerful political commentary against police brutality in Los Angeles, Platinum Era artists were in the midst of a deep-rooted social issues that would change the course of hip-hop. Many artists of the Platinum Era spent time attempting to repair the negative image of hip-hop with Afrocentric ideologies of collective identities, unity, sacrifice, and peace. The peak of the HIV/AIDS crisis led to typical stereotypes of masculinity to be questioned, as figures like Magic Johnson and Eazy-E revealed that they had been diagnosed with the virus. Commentary on the pandemic in hip-hop evolves to disposable heroes of hypocrisy, releasing Positive in 1992. In 1991, A Tribe Called Quest comments on the prevalence of HIV in minority communities in their outro, Midnight, saying, "Did you know the rate of HIV in Black and Hispanic communities is rising at an alarming rate? Education is the proper means for slowing it down." Salt and Peppa's Let's Talk About Sex is one of the first songs that promotes the use of condoms in popular music. Contemporary rap is crucial to the education of young people. Hip-hop artists were the first musicians to speak out about the miseducation and reality of the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Following the birth of gangster rap, many believed that rap promoted violence, an image that many artists fought to repair in the Platinum Era, but became an even greater threat as Tupac was fatally shot in Las Vegas in 1996. Fans of Tupac ranged from die-hard rap fans to genre-bending explorers, sparking a new widespread concern years after the LA riots. Women in hip-hop were most greatly represented for the first time in the Platinum Era. Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, and Queen Latifah set a new standard of femininity in hip-hop as they restructure the voice of women in society. Queen Latifah's Unity boasts a strong image of the over-sexualization, domestic violence, and harassment of women following the height of gangster rap. In order to promote the power of hip-hop, political figures, and public figures outside of the genre looked to enlist the help of artists to unite young people in minority representation of US politics. In 2000, Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney held the first ever Hip Hop Power Shop Summit to address political, economic, and social issues faced by minority communities. The summit looked to engage artists and communities to, quote, arm the youth with weapons of mass instruction. Political involvement heightened after the turn of the century, when P. Diddy founded Citizen Change with the help of Mary J. Blige and 50 Cent. Diddy urged young voters to show up to the polls with the slogan, "Vote or Die." Following the Platinum era, hip-hop artists began to gain respect outside of the genre, allowing for a more widespread influence of these artists in society. The end of the Platinum era and the beginning of the streaming era can be largely attributed to the birth of Napster and the many lawsuits filed against the company by huge hip-hop artists such as Dr. Dre. With the growth of streaming platforms, hip-hop took to new heights as access to music became widely available via the internet. Streaming platforms can be credited responsible for the growth of hip-hop. The era began with the birth of Napster, a streaming software that allowed users to swap MP3 files illegally. While growing artists struggled to handle the distribution of their music with the growth of the internet, many saw Napster as taking advantage of artists. Dr. Dre and Metallica sued the company in 2000, making a statement that streaming platforms were now something that artists needed to take into account when distributing their music. The digital era also heightened awareness of rap beef situations like the one with Jay-Z and Nas on Hot 97 radio. Many believe that Jay-Z took it too far, and he even attempted to redact his statements. But as many artists began to figure out, it is very difficult to unsay things with the growth of these media giants. In 2007, German software engineers launched SoundCloud, a streaming platform dedicated to artists without labels, major distributors, and in some cases, even without real microphones. SoundCloud quickly became the most popular streaming platform of the early 2010s and contributed to the birth of careers of artists like Chance the Rapper. A subgenre has most recently come out of the platform known as SoundCloud or mumble rap. Rappers like XXXTentacion, Lil Pump, Young Lean, and Louisiana's own Suicide Boys began their careers on SoundCloud and have heavily influenced the style of lo-fi distorted rap that is popular today. Much of the lyrics coming out of the SoundCloud rap genre include heavy material such as depression, thoughts of suicide, and even queer sexualities. It can be said that SoundCloud artists provide commentary on the realities of growing up in this generation where a precedence is set on emotional stability. Rap collectives of the digital era make strides in changing the image of sexuality in hip-hop. Groups like The Internet and Brockhampton explore ideas of queer sexuality and the expectations of artists in hip-hop. Artists like Frank Ocean, Kevin Abstract, and Lil Peep explain that the hypermasculinity of rap is inaccurate and not a true representation of society itself. As we are currently in the digital era, streaming giants like Apple Music and Spotify have taken over. Today, Spotify is estimated to have a net worth of over $24 billion, with over 286 million monthly active users.
Originating with African traditions and beliefs, hip-hop continues to bring support and comfort as a form of storytelling. By introducing forms of rap, dancing, DJing, and street art, hip-hop began to spread across the United States over the course of just a few decades. With artists like DJ Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, and DJ Grand Wizard creating new ways to develop new sounds, rap was able to launch into mainstream popularity with Sugar Hill Gang, which changed the audience from solely young black males to being more inclusive. The early Golden Age brought rise to Black nationalism, a time where Afrocentric and Black nationalist rap was prominent. Through struggling times emerged the gangsta rap era, which featured storytelling with songs like Boys in the Hood and F the Police, reflecting on daily life and social and societal failings. The Platinum era held serious commentary on social issues while featuring a breakout period for women, allowing them to redefine themselves in the eyes of hip hop culture. We are still living in the digital streaming era as we watch it rise. By following the storytelling provided by hip hop culture, we're able to see how society plays a role in daily lives as well as how hip hop plays a role in society. The dialectic patterns allow for both comfort calls and rally cries in response to the world around us. Thanks for watching.